Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore. Wait a minute, this music isn't right, the scene isn't right. Hang on. That's more like it. And now it's time for the show for all creatives. Nevermind the Furthermore. Your source for conversation, inspiration, and fun. With your host, Nicholas Anthony Tockert. He's an artist, a writer, a swordsman, and a game designer. He knows how to use the sword and axe in historical battles without anybody getting hurt too much. He's also the Manatee Man, master of marketing. And he may even have a guest or two. One thing, though, to be certain. Just don't call him a cryptid. With that, it's about time for the show. So sit back, enjoy, and have some coffee and chat with us.
Good morning, Nevermorians. I'm your host with the most, Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert, coming at you over the airways on WNTF. Nevermind the Furthermore. Nevermind the Furthermore is brought to you with the kind love and support from our good friends over at indiecd.org. Yes, the Independent Creator Directory, your one-stop shop for the best and the brightest authors, artists, musicians, and creatives. Here we go. Sorry, I'm on the wrong banner section, so I have to do a little bit tweaking in a second, but it was easier to find it this way. Basically, guys, if you want to be hosted, have your stuff put up, and be findable as a creator, you want to sign on with the Independent Creator Directory. Those of us of a certain age remember when there were these things called phone books where you could actually find people you were looking for, not what Google or Facebook or whoever says you're looking for. Well, in our long-standing dedication to shopping small, we are going to, we've been involved with this lovely, lovely site basically since the get-go. And you can get involved too for as low as $40. And that's a one-time fee for web hosting, you name it. Also, if you use code podcast1, that's podcast1, the first 100 people will be able to get in for half off. So a one-time $20 lifetime fee. This is going to be it's just a great deal. And if you're looking for somebody to flat your books, to edit your books, to proofread your books, and yes, friends, editing and proofreading, two related but very different skill sets. Consider joining today. We are also made possible by my books over on Amazon, including The Simple Sword, The Fighting Axe, and The Simple Spear, all part of my ongoing series of Western Arts manuals designed to help you go from having never handled the sword before to teaching it to others. My brain is outrunning itself. I'll explain why in a bit. I am getting to it, friends. We are also made possible by my debut horror novel. Well, yeah, I say debut horror novel, Hades and Hellfire. A dark secret has claimed 2 lives and is hunting an innocent child at the edge of the Appalachian Mountains. Only his aunt, a plucky reporter, her cameraman, and a very odd cat stand against the forces of darkness. Guys, Dawn loves this book. Dawn has been promoting this book. Blessed is Dawn. Also, Daphne Lage likes it. It is a great book. So let's get into accountability. First and foremost, I get to say I goofed up. It is entirely on me in a clownish error of writing late at night. I accidentally told our guest today, Michael Oden, that it would be at 10 a.m. Central. Yes, after years of reversing it in a feat of sleep-deprived madness, I told him Central, not Eastern. So he will be on at 11 o'clock our time, which is fine by me. It means I'm going to have to run the show extra late in mea culpa. But that means you guys get more content. And if you guys have to duck out for Daphne Lage's program with Nita Lanning, I understand. But things get special when we have guests. We will be talking about his Indiegogo for The Embrace. Quick warning, the next image may be a little horror-filled for our usual audience, so I'm going to share it, give you guys the link in the chat, and then we'll get back to our more regularly scheduled programming till he gets here at the stage. So we're over here. As you can see, he is successfully funded, and we're trying to help him get just a little farther along. I suspect that Brian Rodman may enjoy this title, but I am, as we speak, throwing this in the chat. Paste. Yes. Make Mary in the chat with the understanding that I will be coming back to this, and I have earned my many lashes with a wet noodle. And no, we're going here. In the event of absolutely chaos, Joe Bachman is here to handle the reins. Since Oden is one so sharp, we'll be talking horror, and I've got a couple horrific subjects on my under my belt published, and a few more in the works, including one that's crossing two of my great loves, Big Stompy Robots, and vaguely Appalachian themed horror, because there's a saying that, home follows you. And as humans go out into the cosmos, I found myself wondering a very strange question. Will the monsters and beasties and things that stalk our shadows be content to stay stranded on this little planet? Or will they follow us into the great, cold, dark, into the void around us? And how would a world work when the lights start to go out and no one notices? Oh, I've got some good stuff forming. This is on a story I've been going back and forth as a reprieve from Hates and Hellfire 2. Oops, you're not supposed to see that 3. That 3 implies I have more planned, and I should not tell you that I have more planned. Such is my nature. So I've been revisiting that story. That may come out. I invite you to check out the other Big Stompy Robots horror books. No, you can't. No, he can't borrow that thesis. Anyway, the thesis is being a little smarky with the flogger. I do not deserve to be flogged for a simple error. No, sir. And I will remind you, this is both not the green room, and when we have the guests, I expect everybody to be polite. Even if I love you, I will bump your butts off this show and let you come back next week if there's any issue. I'm not having a repeat of some instances that happened a while ago when I had a guest. Okay? So we're 10 minutes in, and I spent, let's see, Thursday. Thursday was a very long run through Lafayette, Indiana. I say very long because somebody decided to do about 5 or 6 different construction projects by different companies in different areas, and then decide all the streets lines need to be repainted too. So I got to see a construction rig I've never seen before that looked like something from Hatari with the seat kicked out to the side. And a dude they were picking up cones, and they're going about 15, 20 miles an hour down the road. He's just reaching down and whipping them over his back into a pile while he's chatting at somebody else. It was really a neat rig. I couldn't see the side or back of it because I had to not hit the other cars while things were going on. But I went traveling in search of soon-to-be Target exclusive blasters that have been on some stores' shelves, but not online and not available. So, checking on that, I am prepping for some social efforts that will be going on tomorrow, where I will be having a visitation from my beloved brother, and got some other parts for the study upgrade, which means as soon as I'm done with this stream, I will be basically ransacking my study to get things a lot better so that I can get certain pieces of furniture out of the living room before I become a permanent fixture of furniture in my living room. Anyone who is married understands this. So, that way I do not fear my wife. And I do not fear Amanda Tockert. Fear implies you have the opportunity of fight or flight. There is no escape and there is no stopping. So one simply acquiesces to the forces of nature. Well, we're delightful. We had a very good time, actually. And Xander got to socialize, got to see Alec a bit, ended up chilling. Yeah, Nick, I see that. I know I'm ahead. Get the desks out of the living room. Soon. You haven't even seen my living room. By the time you get here, it's going to be awesome. I'm gonna need more pegboard. I need to put my blasters up. But between that, some blaster repair that I've been working on, and oops, you used the wrong card, an expired card, so I had to do a reorder on a spring to fix a very old blaster, but that's very dear to my heart because of its fairly historic standing. We'll talk about that the next time I do things. Any chairs need to be moved? If the chairs need to be moved, I just say something and walk away. They'll move themselves at this rate. They learned their lesson. I need to get my chair thing up here too. But I don't want to get caught up without skip the wonderful opening stuff. So what I am going to do is I think I'm going to run the ad for Indie CD. I'll be back in about a minute and a half-ish. And then we'll start through the comments like a normal Friday show. And then whenever our good friend Mr. Oden can come in, I will talk about that. And I want to put a big shout out to my buddy Steve Augusto. You may recognize that name from his being one of my patrons. He's also one of my oldest friends from the long, dark, and hoary days of high school, where he is now 25 pages into his first attempt at something to eventually be published. I am incredibly proud of it. I am also incredibly proud of a few other people who are working on projects that they don't want me to fully talk about, but you know who you are. And I'm incredibly thankful both to Rich Asplin Jr. and Carl Witzman, who were kind enough to donate to Nick just took the hit of I need a new tablet because this one's been blacking out. So I'm going to be strapped for a while on the business-related things and donated to help offset that. I didn't ask for it. I'm in shock. And I'm not going to get misty-eyed because, I'm just not pretty enough for that to raise views. But, you know who is pretty enough to raise views? Our good friend Joe Bachman. Be back in about 2 minutes. Actually, no, minute and a half. I don't need to run my intro again. I was taking care of some important discussionary business, e.g. explaining to my lovely wife that I will be running late due to having the guest. I'll probably, during another commercial break later on, tell... Wow! And since it was technically in the back, that counts as green room adjacent, so I don't have to yell about the comment that just got said. Love you too, Joe. Anyway, wow. I had a train of thought. I really did, friends. That was completely derailing. I love you all. But, yes, I'm really, really proud of the folks who are working really hard to get things written and produced and set up. And one thing I tell you, and I want to put this out there before I get into the chat because I had some commentary. There are a lot of folks who, I don't have a perfect writing system, or I don't have the right word editing app. Let me tell you a terrible and important secret. You don't need that. You need a story. You need it in whatever format. Rough drafts are like your first car, okay? They can be a beater with the heater, running on 3 cylinders of 4. But if it gets you into the game, it's all that matters. Get your rough draft done. Now, some of you are in places like Alec and some of my other younger viewers who contact me, but don't get into the chats. If you can't publish something now, fine, don't. If for legal, I'm not an adult. Write it now. Edit it. Get it. That gives you that time to polish. Don't sit waiting for now I can begin. You could have a library written, prepped by the time you hit 18, and then just edit it and go. I would have accepted fires. And my many, many manuscripts went from the days before accessible computing. Yes, my soul weeps for it. There are still a few of the older stories that I am quietly working on. And one of these days, I'm just going to go, oh, and by the way, brah, and a whole bunch of things are going to get published seemingly out of left field. One of them might be in the same universe as Hates and Hellfire. I will neither confirm nor deny that because there may be 2 books already written in that universe. What? No, not me. Never. Now, I'm interesting. Y'all, I'm interesting. I'm a sexy beast. But there's nothing more interesting than the folks in my chat as I watch a comment dump hit a comment dump. And we're going to go here. So we are going to go into yours because your stories are more interesting. First through the door at 9:02 was Alec. Good morning. I hope this doesn't get cut off, but I hope you all have a good show. I'm going to try and hop on, but I doubt I'll be able to. Oh, okay. Well, good morning. I'll be in and out as testing allows me to be, but I am here in spirit. Trelena, you are always here in spirit. I know you're the one who tells the cats to move my hair ties, which is why I own about 200 hair ties. And as you can see by my luscious flowing locks right now, I can find none of them. I know. It's okay. You when you associate with somebody who's just a little bit chaotic, you expect these sorts of things to happen. Price of admission. And rising from her crypt somewhere in the forests of Illinois, Sarah graces us with her presence. Hello, Sarah. Morning. Man, this is going to be a good show. I haven't seen Oden in a few years when I ended up everywhere Chuck, Pinot, and others were throughout the pandemic. Yeah, it's really nice that I get to occasionally reach out to folks outside of my NTF circle that I got when I was one of the hosts on Nerd Bacon with Luke Stone. Situations have prevented me from continuing to do that, but I still lurk in the background over there, keep an eye on those folks whenever I can, and I've made some really great connections that I'm happy to share with you guys. And apparently they're going to just be moving vast, large pieces of either construction equipment, farm equipment, or both outside my window for a while. That's fine. You may also have the privilege of hearing the Yellow Baron come flying over. The Yellow Baron is a yellow biplane that does things. Sometimes he crop dusts. Sometimes he just flies around, I guess, taking pictures. And sometimes he does touch and goes off people's roofs. That is a joke, mostly. Do not come at him. He's one of the best forms of entertainment out here. Don't you take my Yellow Baron away. Now, and Sarah's greeting Alec, and soft place for you to land and smile. Yep, that's the deal. And Trey's greeting, we got greetings, and hope you're all having a fry. Yeah, you better. You better. I'm going to have a fry as soon as I'm done with this, because I'm going to be running around like a Muppet trying to deal with the house cleaning, the yard maintenance, and the extended plans that I'm trying to get stuff set up, because I want my home to be public showable by, my birthday, because I might be able to have some people over. Whether that's for an actual party or just a Nerf war of monumental proportions, I have yet to decide. It will depend on who's interested. You too, Trey. This is my day off before a madhouse at work. Then, after that is Deadpool and Wolverine opening. You let the chaos ensue. But for today, woo-saw! Okay. I've been working like a maniac, but all day Sunday and tomorrow will be overtime. So I'm staging a mutiny of relaxation on Sunday. Okay. Don't overdo it, Mags. Do not overdo it, and make sure some of that relaxation involves snuggling with your man Joey. I can only do so much. Anyway, kidding, guys. Hugs for Foxy. Decided to demold dice, aka go to the library when Mom was at home. Now I have dice to work on. Yay, dice! We need to fix a few of them. Some of them have imperfections as we pop the bubbles with the lighter, and then the resin decided there wasn't enough of it in the mold. It's a process, and yeah, you're gonna find with resin your measurements beforehand and stuff get really weird. I'm really thinking of getting a silicon molding kit just to see if I can't make a functioning BSR mold or BSR parts mold out of silicon. as an alternate way of making them. I'd like to have as many variants of Big Stompy Robots available as possible at some point in the near future. And it's not on any of the dice I did. It was a friend's dice set. But I'm going to fix it for her, explaining why it did that. Nice. And I agree. Sounds like something you could teach us sometime. Or watch the process in person. Rock on. That's way cool. Live dice making with Alec. As soon as you're old enough, we'll set you up. Don't float an idea like this in this group. We'll come at you for it. That's how we work. Thesis is greeting everyone. Play Thesis and good morning. In defense of the special guest, I will be as quiet in the chat unless needed. Well, the guest will be here in about half an hour, and we will be deferring his stuff. So just party till then and understand I'll have to cut it off when I have to cut it off. Speaking of half hour and guests and opportunities, I still need to do uploads, but let's run an ad. And I want to run this ad.
Hi, this is Kat. During the school year, I'm Mrs. Rothermel, but otherwise, I'm Rock and Roll Art Goddess, writing about my past and filming the present. I need you to join my Rock and Roll Art army and to check out my merch on Zazzle.com. What started out as journal therapy is now 4 books, I see, and an Instagram account to blow off steam, becoming a book, with another to do the same. A short film for a friend. No, this is not the end. Peace, love, and let me art.
Absolutely. We are definitely all about letting Kat Rothermel, our own Rock and Roll Art Goddess, make every Friday a Friday. I can speak. Go to her Zazzle, get some stuff, join the Rock and Roll Art Armory. Well, I mean, that's not too far from points. And it's Nerf. Don't get cranky. And it's unloaded here. Unloaded, see, and Nerf. Don't come at me, YouTube. That's not even a magazine. That's an adapter. But yeah, we have some art. And we have an art armory, so I'm all about it. So let's see who else is here. I need to brain fart my way through those, Joe, and I will let you know. We'll have a meeting about it at some point. And let's see. Where are we? And okay, here we are. Hi, Thesis. And hey, Carl, and hi, Carl. So lots of greetings and lots of greetings. And Thesis, check your Instagram DMs. In a second, sending you pictures of the shinies. I thought you'd like to see them. The Nitsu flavored dice look really cool. And saying that makes it sound like it's a Japanese dish. It is not. Yes, we will. Hashtag always promote. Hashtag respect. Always. And Waddles in Blearily. You're in the right place. In about half an hour, we will have you woken up because Michael Oden is such a personality, and I'm really looking forward to it. He would have been here on time, but he had, fortunately, he had a cross booking, and my blunder made him able to do 2 shows. So I'm going to call it a win. And a lot of times I try to thumb up, and my pinky comes out because the nerves are literally crossed. So we'll see. And I speak of Rock and Roll Art Goddess, and she materializes. Good morning, y'all. Happy Friday. Yay. How are you? I survived home PT this morning. Yay. Now I'm on ice. Ooh. Oh, it's fine. I'm fine. Way better than the alternative. Rock on and Rothmel on ice. Da, 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 da. I would try to do like one of those triple yutzes in my office chair, but then I would be dizzy, and I don't think anybody wants to deal with me dizzy. And of course, it's 65 and sunny today when I'm doing the show and not doing the lawn work. Of course. Hi, Kat. I'm good. Hope PT went well. Hope you're doing okay. Yep. And we've got greetings and she's greeting people. And hey, Kat, remember PT after my hit? Much more in the building than it was at my apartment. Yeah. But did your apartment have a disco ball? They're actually selling disco ball, like Christmas lights for dorms at Walmart right now. At least at the Walmart in Lafayette, because it's very college oriented, being next to Purdue campus. We get some really interesting decor items, and one of these years I'm going to grab a whole bunch of stuff and make more of my house a little bit more dorm chic. Sadly, but it does have a prism in the spare bedroom. Be sure to cover that so that it doesn't accidentally start a fire. Anything that refracts light, you want to keep covered from sunlight. Especially, okay, if you have a crystal ball. Many of my viewers are inclined to or seek to have crystal balls. Always keep them covered. Don't you look at me in that tone of voice, Joseph. Anyway, not for any supernatural ailments, but because sunlight through them can set your house on fire. This has been The More You Know, Paranormal Edition with Nick. Somehow I would not be surprised to see that image taken, clipped, and put to something horrible, because I know y'all, and that was an expression. Good morning, Nick. How am I? I am excited because we're going to have Michael Oden on in about half an hour. My brother Rick is coming out tomorrow after he's done working at the library to do some type of gaming. I am just about waist deep to chin deep in Nerf blasters. And I am doing drills for a program that we will be doing. And we're going to have to make up a flyer for that, because next Saturday is the Gary Shakespeare Company's, I'm not sure which play it is. I keep forgetting. But we'll be doing the
Comedy of Errors.
Oh, a little bit of his comedies. I do love his comedies. Last year's The Tempest was phenomenal. It really was. And if you missed it, you missed something truly grand. It was also 1,010 degrees with 200% humidity. And the only thing that kept us from dying from lightning strikes was the fact that the lightning was redirected by said humidity straight down. So we ended up taking refuge at a Cracker Barrel and engaging in white people cannibalism. That's a joke, a bad joke. But, till it was travelable again. Good times, though. And Rich says, morning, folks, friends, freaks, and family. Good morning, Richard. I'm glad to hear from you, maestro of the 3D prints. In part because I know you're plotting some things I'm entirely too excited about. And I have reminding me that I have a lot of homework to throw your way in the way of STLs. Thank you for the reminder. I will put that on my ever-growing to-do list. What I need to do is make like a Google Docs document and let a bunch of you on so that you guys can just throw the stuff that actually belongs on my to-do list that I forget. But as soon as I said that, I saw the look of Joey trying desperately not to smile. So I know that would be a very dangerous thing to do with some of y'all. Anyway, hey, Rich. Hi, Rich. Oh, in that case, everyone chat like crazy. Yeah, you got another half hour, roughly. And that is the link to Oden's Indiegogo for the Embrace 2 if you are into horror comics. And yes, it has an amazing cover. And Amok. And Rich is out of wet noodles, so I'll have to be flogged with overcooked broccoli. Ew. And as said before, no, you don't, Rick. I don't care. No, anybody tries tries to hit me with a stick, and I'm going to go Swordmaster in response. Are they following us into the void? Or are they chasing us to it? Possibly. And morning, and Donna's getting coffee. She was up late. She will be here soon. I had a weird night because I've got so short of sleep that in trying to get my sleep schedule back, I keep waking up in the middle of the night about 5 hours in thinking, well, time to get up. Anybody who's worked shifts that cause that know what that's like. And hey, Don, how you doing? And Carl was about to conjure Dawn, but she got here first. And please do remember that Dawn is the creator of Her Fashionable Felines. And danged if her beloved cats didn't just make a lovely ad for me that I got to see on The Burning is Love Behind the Code. Oh, dear God, don't look there. That's an Eldritch Horror closing the closet. Or whatever program Joe was on at that moment. But you guys made my week with that. And let's see. It was a different type of guest when I was on in March. Yes, you were. And ironically, I had to improvise a new thumbnail because I had done in Chat Friday a picture of you. And it didn't make sense to have a picture of Dawn with guest Michael Oden. So I had to do some late night. Look, I can kit bash a picture without being AI. Anyway, no idea about a prior guest situation. No worries here. Listening mode, 99% deployed. Whatever you need to do to feel good, Sarah. Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Here comes Chris. How are you? And everyone's greeting Chris. And yes, Nick, get the desks out of the living room. That is part of the plan. I literally, during the commercial, went out to explain that I will be working late and got the I know. It's okay. Things will happen. I am only a little terrified, but it's my wife. I should be terrified. Any chairs need to be moved? Chair. Chair. I was AFK. Yeah, I will get the chair picture back at some point for you chair nuts. I may mod it a bit to feel better because I don't know. I don't know if the chair half image works. It can be quite shocking. And good morning, folks, from Joe. That poor defenseless chair. No one was on it. That chair knows what it did. And it learned a lesson. And hi, friends. Just want to say hi, see how you are all doing. I'm doing work. I'm about to work the ad desk in a few. Be good, be safe. Vote your conscience this November. Please be safe. It's getting ugly. That's why I'm going to try to do what I've always done and be a refuge for the weird, for the outcast and downtrodden. And exactly, Chris. Hey, Kelly. But I'm proud of you, Kelly. Seriously. Is holding back my usual, not a chair joke. Good. You're almost to there because you would never mention the joke that you're holding back. I know, Kelly. I turned 65 in November. It's ugly. Oh. Even Carl isn't saying chair. Nick, it's dumps of random writings I have, and I'm just working on piecing them together. You're not the only one. It is one of the great pleasures I have to go to the people who send me stuff. Yes, write that, or you might want to work on that, or please allow me to introduce myself. There are always options, but it's getting warm in here, so I have to put my hair up, and I found some type of elastic band. Okay, there we go. And Alec turns 17 in November, and Taylor Swift wrote much before she turned 18. We've all seen how that turned out. Maybe she should have run for president. Anyway, I remember a few things about being 17, I think. I'm not sure about that, Chris. I'm not familiar enough with her works to say either way. Actually, it's not bad. Her stuff is not bad. People, I mean, I'm polyamorous, so it's, is what it is. Carl. She's made millions of dollars, Foxy. You could tell when she was young she wrote mean. That's true. Gotta go. Big stack of papers in front of me. Gotta watch the live feeds too, so I need to go. Bye, friends. Create and thrive. Bye, Kelly. We love you. The yellow baron flew by my roof yesterday. He's awesome. Yeah, he's loud, but he makes things interesting, and I love him. See you later, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Try not to let real life drain you too much. Indeed. Excellent work on the dice. I'm having a jealous because I am going to be running around like a Muppet. Nick, 2024. That sounds like my election spiel. Are you tired of unenergetic, octogenarians who don't know what they're doing? Elect me. I don't know what I'm doing either, but I'll be a lot more energetic about it. And I'll see if I can't squeeze DARPA into releasing some new tech to make the life easier, at least. I think he meant Baron. Baron implies he really flew too low. I remember Oden getting tips on how to do an elevator pitch from the beginning of what looks to be spectacular. So cool. It is. Spelling is not my specialty. Carl? Just teasing. What? We have resin residents in the house? I've been wanting to dance with resin, have a few kits, books, molds, and ideas, but don't know where to start. My dear Kat Rotherman, you should reach out, amongst other things, to my lovely wife, Amanda. She has done quite a bit of little resin things in the past. It just got a little pricey for us at that time. And Alec is doing it. There are several other people doing it. I'm all about networking. Thanks. Thesis might be able to do something for the future for this group. Who knows? Rock and roll art goddess in the house. Always. Nick, thanks for playing my ad. I owe you. Oh, you don't owe me anything, darling. You are a vision of light and joy in a world that's dark. You are a princess in a world of dragons. Hugs and kisses as I try not to melt. Hey, Chris, Armory. Love it. I seriously need to update my Zazzle store. Cough, cough. Indeed. Visit her armory and add to your arsenal. Indeed. Ha, Chris. Well, I need to show him the Nitsu dice as well. Forgot about those. Yes, you do. Oofda. Apparently, I'm in listening mode today. I'm sorry. They're in the dice bag. Don't feel bad, Cat. I need to update my store, too. I set up a store on a service at some point, and all the information was on my post-it notes of knowledge. I'm not even sure where I set it up. But I will be setting up a service that does merch and does T-shirts and the like, because too many people need T-shirts related to what I do, myself included. Hi, Dawn. And Dawn says, at least you can do a heart with your hands and fingers, Nick. That's just because I can angle back. And if you notice, my heart has antennae because my pinkies are going today. I did a little too much driving yesterday. And if you're planning to go to Lafayette, stay away from Sagamore Parkway. The bridge over the Wabash at the end of the insanely steep hill for Indiana and Lafayette is one lane. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, bumper to bumper. I think it took me nearly a half hour to go down the hill, across the bridge, and a little farther to the light. Just avoid it. Take 52 around if you can. If you can't, go to the bathroom ahead of time, pack snacks, and pray. Anyway, this has been Traffic Report from Nick. For those who didn't see my impromptu show last night, I did get the Mac working again. Hallelujah. I saw that there was a show after the show was over because I was watching something else. Quasi-educational anime. Me glaring at the art club's website for my school, which is in need of updates. Yeah, Mac. And I guess I won't be taking a vacation from Wednesday night shows. Better not. Congratulations, Joe. Glad you got working again after Wednesday night shows. I made Ted listen to the ad from Wednesday night. He wasn't sure if he could crack up or be concerned about my brain. Yes, the answer is yes. 11 watching, 6 likes. Eyes the wet noodle in the corner. Yeah, guys, please, if you are watching this and enjoying it, please hit like. Please share it around. Because both Facebook and X are being cruddy. We lost a whole lot of the channels we can broadcast to. I basically feel like we took one to the shins, and I am displeased by it. But, we'll make do. Oh no, Joe. Hands Joe basket full of socks and gallons. No! No, we are not dealing with wet socks. No. Very concerned. Hi, IDC. Yep. Cat's greeting Joe. And you know what? It's about time for me to run another ad real quick. Oh, I have to run this ad.
It's time to scan, that is the plan, with Carl and Dawn to catch a fawn or unicorn. We're so forlorn, we got a Koepp, so here's our rep. Munsey, we want to Munsey, because we want some points and funny badges with our modern cell phone gadgets. Munsey, we've got to Munsey. Download that app and help us Koepp, and you can play it too. Munsey is good exercise, good for your heart and for your thighs. Dawn is such a lovely lass. Come on, Dawn, get off your chair. Munsey, we want to Munsey, because we want some points and funny badges with our modern cell phone gadgets. Munsey, we got to Munsey. Download that app and help us Koepp, and you can play it too.
And during one of my most colorful advertisements, our man Michael Oden has entered the chat. So since you guys are far more interested in him, I'm going to bring him up. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I am ecstatic you're here. I am so sorry about the time delay, but I'm glad you got some breakfast out of it.
It's all good, man. I just like when you sent me the thing, it was like, oh, it's usually between like 10 and 11 Central, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. That's like 12 my time. Okay, like 11 and 12 my time. So
what happened is I remembered that you're on my time, so my brain said flip the message.
Whew.
And just the thing. All right. Do you want to tell some folks about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Michael Oden. I'm the creator and founder of Nine Realms Publishing. I've been making indie comics for the past 4 years. I started with a series called Elysian Fields, and made some headway there. But then the really big claim to fame that I have at this point is my book, The Embrace, which did very well back in 2021. Raised over $15K and got the book out to 10, 15 countries outside of the U.S.
Nice.
So it was a very humbling thing. And then, I think we met when I was doing SPQR's Bizarre Adventure, my little JoJo parody that had no right being as good as it was. And
it was earth-shattering. Go on.
And then this past year, I worked with Global Frequency Studios, and we worked together on this book that I'd done called Judex. And that was awesome. And now we're here, and it's time for The Embrace too.
And see, this is great because I already, just to let you know, I did bring up, how do I want to do this? I did bring it up earlier to show folks and did a little bit of light promotion, but it is available on Indie CD. Is it available anywhere else?
So the Embrace 2, we're going to be, so we're doing Indiegogo for now, but then we'll be doing Fund My Comic, then and then Kickstarter after. I want to make sure that
No, I like that. I like that because a lot of people try to do it simultaneous, and that's a lot.
It's dumb. It's dumb. It's a bad idea. You're I get that the idea is like, oh, well, if you cast a wider net, but like indie comics, yes, it's a pond, but like any pond, they're like casting a wide net into one part, trying casting a net over the entire pond is impossible. There are sections of the pond where fish hang out. If you do the whole thing of, oh, I'm going to launch all of my campaigns at once, you're literally competing with yourself and you're making it way more difficult to promote. It is better to focus on one, then move on the next. Focus on that, then move on to the next. And I do see Sarah S. in the chat. I do remember you. It has been a very long time. It's so great to see you. And yes, I do believe that we met through Chuck. It was a good time. But it has been a hot minute since I've seen you. It's so good to be back around everybody. But yeah. I'm glad to see you because you were one of the best connections I think I made during my nerd bacon, because it is rare I can meet somebody who can out-geek me on a specific historical field, and I completely cede the field to you lest I become Carthage. And we had such fun. And normally you go on a show and that's here, there's this tier and there's all that, and if people want to see that, they can see you are everywhere. I want to talk to you from it's me. You're gonna get a weird angle. Yeah, I want to talk to you about one. You're writing horror, and there are elements of horror in a lot of what you do. Yeah. So I love hearing how people, especially frankly sane, rational people like yourself, the kind of look, you look normal, you keep to yourself, you're quiet. How could anyone think that you'd be involved in something horrible? But how you get to it, where your creativity in that comes from, because that's what people ask me a lot. How do I love horror? How do I make it not have it suck? And then you just gave real wisdom, because of the people I see who do crowdfundings, there are a lot of people who go out there and they crowdfund to varying degrees. Mm-hmm. Everything I've seen you handle very professionally, and you handle very successfully, frankly. Yeah, we have to add an Uli at the end of this point. Of course. But so I'm going to ask, what do you lean into that you find brings you that level of success? And then we can get on the horror stuff, because I think we'll have fun with the horror stuff. I just had this feeling.
So in terms of promote, how I think that the big thing that I do, and I could be completely full of shit, so who knows,
but no one will notice the extra smell if you are.
So I think that the big thing that I bring that brings people to my campaigns, right, is all of my stories come from a very genuine place of me. And we'll talk about that more when we go into what exactly is the driving element, specifically on the Embrace from its horror side. But when you look at each of my products, you got SPQR's Bizarre Adventure, which is a blend of my love of both Roman history and I love JoJo, right?
Absolutely. It just makes, to me, it makes perfect, rational, fluffer nutter sense. You got the absolutely the marshmallow. Why aren't more people doing it? Yes,
exactly. And so I think that plays into it. And then there's but I think that genuineness creates a more personable approach when I talk to them, because it's I can just be myself and geek out about things. I've got, as I said, we've got SPQR. I've got Elysian Fields, which is born out of my love of mythology and history and everything like that as well. I've got all of these Judex, the story that I did with Global Frequency, is born from my love of
The Shadow and Pulp, and French culture. So like everything that I do, I try to bring something that I care about into it. And when you care about something, you want it to succeed. And the most important thing to do at that point is obviously, you go out, you talk to people, and you put yourself out there, but you also be professional.
Right.
I think part of that is from my approach. I was in the Army for 6 years as an infantryman, and I went to military school growing up.
Thank you.
So like professionalism is something that I try to strive by. And I wish more people did, because like, God knows there's so much silly drama that's in indie comics that like could be avoided if people just shut up and worried more about making books and reaching the various different bases and what have you, rather than sitting there focusing on, well, you said this mean thing to me in a back room. Like I'd like to think that I don't have many people that dislike me. I do know that there are a few people that I've butted heads with from time to time, but I don't hold any animosity towards them, and I don't go around and spread. I don't really go out there and try and take these people down in back rooms or anything like that. It's not my style.
No.
If I have something, that I want to say to a creator, I'm going to say it to their face, and I'm going to do it in a place that's like, I'm not going to do it in front of all of their fans or anything like that. It'll be a one-on-one conversation that I will have with that person. Because that's who I am. That's how I've always been.
And
so,
give you a second to let the wheels turn a little bit, because I know this isn't the normal script, so you have to kind of come off of at this tier and this tier and actually engage a different part. There are reasons why when you say, hey, I want to be on your show, I'm like, sure. There are a lot of people who will come out, because I kind of got around more than a lot of people might realize between what I did on Luke's show and a few other things. You are always respected. Like universally, in every back room I've sat in, you have been respected. And the fact that, and I know this is going to sound odd, because SPQs, my dyslexia loves that. Bizarre.
I get it. It happens all the time.
Is the ultimate, it's this meets this. But none of your stuff, nothing I've seen you lay a hand to, has that where it's like Batman, but he kills, or it's X-Men meets this, or it's this meets this. There's always this authentic, honest creativity. There's always this realness. You're not doing like, if I take this idea and this idea, I can make money. Nothing feels like a cash grab out of you. And for the independent comics, especially since like what happened with Eric July and people going from making enough to make their comics and maybe a little extra to the crowdfunding bubble, which in many ways is pops for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Your stuff is always like quality. When you collaborate with people, I never hear anything bad. There are very few people who are 100% just, I know it's going to be good because it has Oden's name attached to it. And I don't have brand loyalty easy. So you've done a lot right to develop that. And if any of your accomplishments are to be lauded beyond what the obvious, I would say that might be your single greatest accomplishment in the biggest collection of exceptionally dramatic people probably ever squished together.
I would normally say that that's a bit of hyperbole, but I absolutely agree with you. I used to make jokes because like I would go, the way that I normally do my things is I go and I do my crowdfunding and I campaign hard for a bit. And then once the crowdfunding is over, I focus on fulfillment. And when everything's out to everybody, I then I go and I just I take a time off. And so every single time I take that time off and come back, it's like a nuclear bomb has gone off. And it's like all these people that I used to talk to are now either persona non grata or they just hate each other or this, that, the other. It's all like, and it's funny because like Nita Lanning, I think it was like, yeah, Oden's our little yellow canary. Every single time Oden disappears for a bit, we should treat this as something bad's about to happen.
Yeah, no, see, I absolutely adore Nita. And that's the fact that I'm saying, yeah, we can run late on a Friday is incredibly telling because usually I live in fear of Nita Lanning. But I know if I said, I know we ran late, so some of my people didn't hop over, but I had Oden on, she would say, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? But anybody who can get a mellow response out of Nita Lanning, that alone is pretty impressive. And that is said with all the love and confidence. So you are almost eerily stable in this field of complete lunatics.
I try.
I've embraced my lunacy and I've let that become part of my online persona because it was easier than than trying to fight it. But how does somebody who seems as grounded and sane as you are come up with something like the Embrace? And can you give a world, because this is the second one, a lot of people on here may not have known about the first. Can you do a little bit of world building there and let folks know what it is and where you're coming from?
Well, I mean, I think that especially when it comes down to like horror in particular, pain is the big motivator because, at the end of the day, we fear what we don't know because we are afraid of the aftermath, right? Like what that is. And so when I came up with the idea for the Embrace, I was going through a contentious custody suit. And the fear of loss and everything like that, like of losing my kid and everything like that is one of the big things. And the pain of the uncertainty and like, I mean, I'm now, I just turned 32 back in June. And I've had a failed marriage and I have a kid, right? And that's something that nobody has on their what I want to do when I grow up list at the when they're growing up. And so all of that stuff kind of culminated together to come up with it, to come up with this. And like, there was to kind of give our main characters, David and Clarence, it's not a little girl, it's a little boy, James. Thanks, Sarah. And he is 6. He's just finished kindergarten. He's doing well. And, I was very fortunate and I won my custody case. I got, I got primary custody. And he's done incredibly well. But so like that's where kind of this first book was born from that. And when I was going through all of this, I remembered this story that I read back right after James was born, that there was this kid's body found in this park that I used to go through all the time in Alexandria, Holmes Run River Park.
Okay, out by Delphi, right?
Like right across, like near. I'm trying to think of like a proper, like, I'm trying to think of the exact street, but you're from you've been through Alexandria, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So like it's by it's I'm blanking on the apartment complex's name, but it's like it's maybe 3 miles away from the Alexandria campus of Northern Virginia Community College.
Okay.
Maybe like 3 or 4 miles away from there. But like I used to go and I used to walk through there all the time, run, do all sorts of things. And so like when you find that out and your kid's just been born, your obvious like first thought is, that could have been my kid. And so I was going through this custody trial and that kind of came up, and that's kind of where, David and Clarence got born from, and the tragedy that befell them. But I also wanted to give it a bit of a twist. Because I think, when you look at The Crow, it's a revenge story, and especially when you read like the 10th anniversary edition, it's kind of like punctuated in the end by it didn't really bring Eric anything.
Right.
He's still angry and hurt. And so I think that the big thing I really wanted to do is I wanted to take all this negative emotion that I was feeling and make something positive out of it. And so that's what the embrace is, you've got this dad who's lost his son. And in this moment of desperation, he's about to take his own life when his son's ghost comes back and stops him. And they come together and they embrace. And when that happens, Clarence is given this vision of what happened the night David died. And he sees through David's eyes what happened. And as a result, sees the people responsible. And then when he comes to, he's in this super suit powered by his son's ghost. And so together they're this spectral superhero going out to bring David's killers to justice. And it's very important that we understand that this is justice, not vengeance. He's not going out to, kill these guys. He's going out to, get them arrested and be put through due process of the law and everything
Right.
like that. Like it is, at the end of the day, part of this superhero is the ghost of this 8-year-old kid who had good parents, who had people who cared for him and loved him. This is like the big thing that just kind of fuels this story is it starts off in a very dark place, and then by the end of that first book, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I really want this book, when it's in its completion, is going to be this kind of story that navigates Clarence through the process of his loss and gets him to a point where he's ready to let go and move forward. So yeah,
That is, folks, I tell people constantly to shop small and look at, off the mainstream. And a lot of people think it's just because, I'm a bit of a rebel in my own way. But it really is the depth of storytelling, the depth of emotion. You can only get that when you have, in my opinion, someone with a genuine vision, a genuine idea of what they want, and not a bunch of corporate committees trying to interfere. And that's the kind of story that is so powerful. It makes having an interview like this almost difficult, because you get pulled into the feelings of fear and tragedy. And I think any father, that's just absolute perfect nightmare. It's things we live with every day, and we don't talk about being afraid of something like that happening. And to have it written with such, again, that authenticity just keeps coming out. And there are a lot of comics out there with good art. There are a lot of comics out there with bad art. And I will say that you can have a comic with not the best art in the world, but incredible story, and it will still be powerful.
Mhm.
You can have a comic that's very pretty, but if it doesn't have a story behind it, and this might be my bias speaking, but it just doesn't have the depth. It's just a picture book at that point.
Yeah.
And
I think that's accurate, and I think that what ends up being the result is people don't come back for an issue 2.
yeah,
Like art is great. It's what brings people in. But at the end of the day, the grand story, one of the biggest unifiers in civilizational history is the power of a story. There hasn't ever been a period where, a passerby won't stop by a fire to listen to somebody telling a story, right? Like
Right.
it's one of those things that's ingrained into our subconscious DNA, is the urge to listen to a story. Like when you're going in when you're at a bar and you're hearing somebody telling a story about something crazy that happened their day, and you're trying to respect privacy, but sometimes that story is just too compelling and you start listening anyway, and you become invested. It's the same thing as like when you have a good story, it will overcome a lot of things, a lot of criticisms, and that was one of the big things that I had early on in my career that I really, it was very humbling, was our first Elysian Fields issue 0 got reviewed by Inch High Comic Guy way back when, and he tore us a new one on art and colors. Like the art, he gave our line work solid scores, but the colors he just destroyed us on. But the writing got a 4.5 star rating.
Right.
And he was just if he is able to upgrade the art in this, this is very easily one of the best books out there. And that was a very humbling thing for me, because it's like at that point that's not a guy that I know or anything like that. That's just some guy who read my book,
right,
and is giving me their thoughts, and that was it was a very humbling thing that I very much cherish, and I've been very fortunate in that the books that I have put out so far have been well received. I'm sure that there will come a point where I put out something that people don't like, but and when that happens, I'll just use that as a learning point to do better and improve. But
I might be, I don't want you thinking I'm blowing smoke up your tailpipe, so to speak.
Mhm.
But I have great difficulty Johnny,
you son of a
God,
bitch, Johnny Cage.
I love you, Johnny Cage. Man, I love you. Okay.
No.
See, he loves derailing me.
I know.
I do not believe you capable of putting out something that was not well thought out and well put together. There is the possibility that it may not be well received at any point for whatever reason, but I don't think it would be on its it would have to be something very stupid outside of your control for any reaction like that, because you've been consistently improving. And again, we live in a world where everyone is so fake on the other side of the screen or the other side of the page that authenticity is such a clear note. It's a sort of radiant light in this fog that seems like most people are generating because they lack something: creativity, intelligence, passion, and they try to cover it up with BS. I hate to put it that way, but your stuff is always spot on like that. Now, one thing I've noticed, and especially from your works, people who are veterans who've been around the military. In my observation, I grew up in a military household. My dad's a Vietnam veteran. There is an understanding of violence and the application of violence that I always find interesting from veterans, because many times, especially the good writers, take the violence, and to them it's another wrench in the toolbox. You don't usually get the farcical, and I mean, we're talking superheroes and monsters, but the way the violence works makes sense. And I don't know if I'm phrasing that right, and I know it's a very strange angle to walk down. But when you have a title like this, you have supernatural elements, keeping it grounded in almost practical violence, I hate to say it that way, where applicable, is something you do very well. And how do you feel your military perspective, your military affects both your understanding of how people act in crises, and and around violence as it is, portrayed?
Oh man. I mean, it's a really interesting thing, because it's one of those things where, like, I was in for 6 years. We didn't do a combat deployment, but we did a lot of like mission. Like I was Army National Guard, so like we would go and respond to, like, we responded to the Baltimore riots and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of stuff that we did domestically. But like at the end of the day, I think the big thing when capturing the violence, in capturing action, we'll say, right, is really, understanding that you have this balance between the horror and the spectacle, right? Like probably one of the most potent things that I think that every writer should read in terms of understanding how combat and violence works is True War Story by Tim O'Brien, from the things we carried, where he talks about what is a real war story, what is a true war story. And in it, he talks about how it's horrifying and beautiful. And so, like, keeping that in mind, where like you're showcasing these gruesome elements, but also making it this vivid display, controlling your camera angles, doing all that stuff. And really what it comes down to, especially from the writing perspective, is learning how to communicate that to your art team. Because like, I'm not here drawing these panels and what have you. I'm having to type this stuff out and try and direct it as best I can. And then, there's obviously communication with the artists as we're getting roughs and pencils and all of that to try and make sure that we're able to capture it. So I think like the big thing is just trying to find that good line of, horror and beauty.
Yes.
In the violence, in the action. And it's in terms of like writing how people act in crisis. I mean, it honestly just comes down to, understanding the characters you're writing. Who are they? What is their life experience? The way that Joe Schmo civilian is going to handle, stuff going down, versus the way that a police officer or a soldier or this or that is going to handle something going down, are going to be completely different things.
Absolutely.
And like, there's lots of that comes into it, where it becomes a character exercise. Well, who's in this sequence? Like who do we have here? Who should, like, how should these people be acting? That's really what that comes down to, is just understanding your characters. And then, as I said, finding that balance between the horror and the beauty, because there is
a beauty in conflict. There is as terrifying and horrible as it is, there is a beauty in it as well.
Yes, I agree, and I find that fascinating because I grew up around. My dad worked with the VA hospitals, handling vast amounts of their computer stuff and running the medical, making sure all the medical devices worked for like the whole hospital up in Chicago. So I spent a lot of time in my youth around injured and disabled veterans. Yeah. So I've had the privilege of sitting there as a very starry-eyed youth. And hearing stories about, somebody got shot or something is really different when the guy can pull up his leg and go, yeah, the hole's still there. You want to put your finger in the hole, kid? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And I do hope this isn't too traumatic or stressful in any way. I don't want to upset you.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But it's one of the privileges of having someone who actually knows what they're talking about and has the perspective of experience, when they're talking about, when they're creating, and when they're leveraging the situation, that it makes the storytelling so much more visceral and so much more real, and you find it in the odd details. An example for that I know most of the people here will probably know is from Lord of the Rings, when Christopher Lee Sauron got stabbed.
Yeah,
and they wanted him to make an ack noise, and he said,
"Yeah, it's like that's not the sound that somebody who gets stabbed in the back makes. It's more of a like gasping, hissing noise because the oxygen has been completely drawn out from their breath. And this is also the sound effect you're looking to make isn't how that sounds either. Like, and things got very awkward around the creative table.
Well, it was great because they asked him, and it was because I've done it, and that I love that moment of realization where people who are taking a concept through the lens of their personal fantasies. I know a lot of people who I could take a bear. I mean, if I had to, I think I could fight a bear. Okay. You meet these people a lot. People who maybe they haven't thrown a punch outside of like middle school or something. And, the only firearms they've ever seen are, fired on Call of Duty, and they have this idea. And then when somebody who has the authentic experience explains, this is why, you can almost hear their delusions shattering. And it's like crystal. And I love that sound. It's one of the great joys in my life to watch somebody realize, wait, that's the fantasy. There is a reality, and I know nothing about it. It's just, it delights me. Schadenfreude, I'll admit it. But that's what I like about when you're writing horror. I think, and please, call me out if I'm wrong. The more fantastical the situation, the more the reality side has to be concrete. And, it has to be right for it to feel right. Does that make sense to you?
I think that you're absolutely like that was actually something that got brought up. I was on a stream the other day, and they asked somebody asked me why I set the Embrace in Alexandria, Virginia, because it is set in Alexandria.
Could you please lean back forward? You got so
quiet. Sorry about that. So like I was on this stream, and they were asking me why I set the Embrace in Alexandria, Virginia, in like a real city and not a made up one. And one of the like my big thing that I went to is like, well, obviously Alexandria was a place where I experienced a lot of things. It's a very important place to me in my life, but on top of that, with the fantastic nature of this premise, I felt like grounding it in a place that is real, that is tangible,
Absolutely.
allows for a better suspension of disbelief when you're going in, and you've got this, like, within the first 10 pages, you got a ghost showing up, turning his dad into a superhero. And I mean, I do want to address something, because Sarah is asking if we could see some more of the book.
Oh,
So as we were talking about, doing like navigating, like showcasing the violence and the action and what have you, we can take a look at some of these interiors. So right here we have our 2-page spread, that's page 2 and 3 of the Embrace 2. Where we got this beautiful splash collage where the shattered glass is making up from the windshield, is making up all these situations of the Embrace doing superhero stuff. And then on top of the car, we've got the Embrace sprawled out, and he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And the first book, the art was good, but it was Dean's first book, so like he has come leaps and bounds in this second book, and like the art here is insane.
It really is. And because I of course scrolled through this, and I immediately found some humor, because there's some homages and nods to Friends that I caught.
Oh yeah,
and that is one of those things I love.
Well, so Luke, as you can see, Luke Stone is a character in the book. He's the captain of the Alexandria Police Department that has a very close dynamic with Clarence throughout the series. And Luke was like a big brother to me when I was coming into comics. And around the time that I was doing this, I was when Luke was really sick, and so we had I had done this as kind of like a tribute, because we weren't sure how things were going to go. And so it was very fortunate that he pulled through and everything like that. But like, this is a letter to a friend. Hold on 5 seconds. I got a call from one of my contacts here at work that I need to call them back really quick. But just scroll through the campaign. I'll be right back. This won't take more than 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to probably interrupt. You know what I'm going to do, because I want to hear his take on everything, I'm going to run an ad to buy some of the time while he does that, and just to help some of our supporters. And we'll be back in a minute, and we'll see if he's done with this call. And that ad was almost perfectly timed. So
yes. So anyways, but yeah, like this is like so Captain Stone is a very big character, and is like one of I wouldn't say he's the Embrace's Jiminy Cricket. We have a character that's coming in that's like going to be his Jiminy Cricket / Yoda that comes in at the end of this book. But Stone is very much an empathetic character who's trying to make sure that Clarence doesn't like lose himself to all of this. And things kind of get heated up in this issue, and he's like he's the Commissioner Gordon, I would say.
Gotcha.
He's like he is that guy that's working that will end up like, you know, working with Clarence in the future to kind of help out with stuff.
And I'm just scrolling to you know, keep the imaging fresh. Unfortunately, due to aspect ratio of my stuff, I gotta kind of.
Well, it's
But,
all good.
And
And so
see,
like this.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
oh no, I just, that was where I was going to say that sense of realism, because when you base a character on someone you know, and especially if I said Luke before the nap is quite a bit a different person than Luke after the nap, which this isn't me saying anything disparaging about Luke. I love Luke,
but like there was like some stuff like that changes you though.
right.
Like that is how it goes. But you know, like
it's when you do characters like that, sorry, it's that other essence of grounding. Your work is so grounded that it feels. I don't know how you can make something as fantastical, frankly, as this kind of superhero comic, supernatural superhero comic, somehow feel more believable than the slice of life stuff I see people try to generate. You know, but when you're reading and you hear people talking in your books, the dialogue feels like people. It doesn't feel like projection.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is really powerful, because that's something, the list of the things you do in the background so incredibly well is the stuff that people who might just be casually reading it won't understand how to look to see why this is so good. And anytime I've had people send me some of your stuff to look through and such, it's always so powerfully grounded that this universe makes sense to me, so I can believe that there's some kind of freaky, skull-faced monstrosity chasing the Embrace. So let's get into the villainy here. For people who don't know the story, the son has passed, and from the description, if you just heard the story as you gave it, especially referencing the crow, you would expect it to be this very almost low magic fantasy, where this is happening, but he's still dealing with street level thuggery and what have you. This is not street level thuggery. So
it's funny because initially it was just supposed to be street level thuggery, and then my co-creator was like, "Dude, we've got to give the Embrace his venom," and I was just like, "Yeah, you're right." and so that's how Strangle came to be, and I can't go into too much on him because it would spoil things, but he is a big part of what's going on behind the scenes, and this is their first clash, and as it goes in any good superhero book, the Embrace does not do well in this first encounter. He and this is kind of, as I said, this story kind of maps out Clarence's progress of dealing with his grief, and he's been stuck in sorrow and disbelief for so long that now he's finally in the anger stage, right? He's happy that he's doing stuff with David and what have you, but he's lashing out at everybody else. There's this big scene between him and Captain Stone in the book where he just acts like a complete asshole the entire time. It's very much oh, you guys weren't able to do anything about this, and he's not saying that he's behind the Embrace or anything like that. So he's not getting arrested or anything, but he's being very smug about what's been going on. And So when they come across Strangle, he's like, oh, he's got the anger and he's got the invincibility chip on his shoulder because he's thinking, oh, me and my kid are doing, we've got this.
Uh-huh.
And they get put over their head.
And I think that's necessary. I do. I really think that's necessary.
Yeah. Well, and you have to in any hero story. Like, the big part is obviously meeting the dragon, but your first encounter with the dragon, you get your ass kicked because then you have to kind of rally back and confront your flaw, right? Like you have your internal character flaw, and so in order to overcome the dragon, in order to become the ultimate obstacle, you have to face that flaw head on and overcome it. And that's when you can finally take on the dragon and put them down, right? This is all basic stuff from, like Joseph Campbell's, Hero of a Thousand Faces the idea of the hero's journey, right? Like that's what this is all. That's what it's all. Like every single story that we have is kind of derivative of this and follows in this kind of thing for a reason. It's not because it's formulaic or anything like that, but this is because this is how stories go, because the hero has to struggle before they win.
And what I love about this, because if ever there is a way to say, I love ancient mythology and the ancient world without saying I love ancient mythology and the ancient world, it is the level of hubris as a flaw and how important it is that the hero goes through that aspect of it. Manifesting hubris will not work. And I don't want to say I would expect that of you, but I kind of would, because it's so necessary and that you handle it so well. It shows that root, and I'm truly enjoying where that's coming from. I also want to give you guys a lot of props, because a lot of the other comics I've seen, who, if they were going to do a cover like this, they could not resist it being a straight homage cover.
Well, and that was the thing, is the first Embrace, our main cover was an homage to Death in the Family. Right. From Batman, right? Because I felt like that was the appropriate thing to do. But for this one, I straight up was like, Dean, you're an homage cover the last time. I want you to go all out and do a completely original composition. And so not only is this an original composition, it's a fully traditional piece of art. Pencils, inks, colors, all of it was done traditionally. And that piece sold like hockey. Like it was like that, and the Shelby Robertson piece that we had on the campaign sold day one.
But like that's it turned out so well. And like as I said, thematically, this is what this book is you've got the for this second issue, you've got the Embrace and Strangle clashing together for the first time, and you've got to kind of display that, without giving you spoilers, that this is what's going to be happening, and it's not going to be going well for our hero.
And like what you did, this is one of those iconic images that I see a lot of comics. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are tolerable. But every once in a while, I'll see one that has. I'm sorry, I'm not bashing anybody, but
No, I completely get it. There's a plethora of like quality in the indie industry in the indie scene is a massive spread. Like
yes.
You have some stuff that comes out that's fantastic. You have some stuff that comes out that is crap. You have some stuff that comes out that is okay. It's there's not a lot of consistency across the board, but but like that's what it is, because ultimately at the end of the day, these guys are, we're coming from a place where we don't have necessarily the professional background, and we don't, and we're doing this with our dispensable income, so we have stricter budgets and everything like that.
But what's great about it is, and I see it all the time. I see people who are chasing, they want to be iconic. And you'll hear them talk about it. And I was influenced, and then they'll give you page and frame number of what X-Men influenced this and how they're doing this, and they're chasing that desire to be iconic and to generate something that'll be memorable. And because they're chasing it so hard, they're just falling on their face and not realizing why. When you see, this is one of those that has that iconic, that immeasurable, right there. And you can. I don't mind the popcorn comic books that I see sometimes. Sometimes they're great, You just want that slightly mindless, they were the good guys, we were the good guys, they were the bad guys, and they made a very satisfying thump when they hit the ground. Sometimes you need that. Mm-hmm. But this is that journey and that imagery. And then, you look at this, totally different, same message, but totally different telling.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I love about what you've selected artistically. It's really moving. And the old 80s fan in me is just this pink right here, just coming out.
It's great.
And you can tell that the people who are doing your projects love your project. Is that not going to load now? Okay.
It will. It just takes a bit because Indiegogo hasn't updated their UI in like ages.
Yeah, that's why I usually recommend someone else's more niche site that will remain nameless. It's on my comic. Oh, I'm sorry. I would never throw love at an old friend.
We will, like as I said, this is the last Indiegogo campaign I will ever do. We were shadow banned from launch. Like it's been like the only reason why we ended up doing this is because we had like 600 signups on the mailing list. So it's we couldn't just not do it. It's a shame because the limited here, hold on. Since the website's not showing it, I can show the rest of the covers since they're not loading.
Cool. Let me drop this.
Let's do this.
And
so we were on cover C, right?
Yes.
All righty.
It's so nice working with people who understand the backside of things too for this. But while he sets that up, I love how like you and Sarah have had this frankly heartwarming chat going on in the background.
It's been nice.
It's so personal. I'm like, I don't really feel it. I need to broadcast it, but it's beautiful. And I want to say hi to Katie because we haven't heard from Katie in a while. She's gone by other handles, but it's really good to hear from her. And let's see what we got here. Oh, okay.
So this is our third cover by Eder Macias and Avery Ferdinand. Eder did a book called Spider-Man Last Hunt with Marvel a couple years back. And so we did this kind of Spider-Man inspired cover to really drive that home, and it's drop dead gorgeous. And then hold on, got to close out of that one and open up.
There is a heavy Spider-Man influence in the Embrace, but it 100%. Manages not to hit that where it feels like one superhero cosplaying another, which is so rare. I have to be so careful.
So then this is our Bancroft All the Hands cover. If you're familiar with Michael Bancroft and the Lucent, his first book, there is a lot of issues with drawing hands, and so we made like the whole joke about it. Hold on. I think that this is sorry. I'm waiting for a truck driver to come pick up our equipment for a show. So give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well,
So sorry.
No. It'll give me a chance to. What I'll do is I'll just run another ad and give him a second. And oh yes, we are flawless. And anybody who says otherwise has not watched our programs. We've never turned each other off or ran the wrong ad. No. Joe and I are consummate professionals. And if you want another consummate professional's work, let's run this.
In 1948, a man was found dead on the beach. But he hadn't just washed up. Oh no, he was very nicely propped up against the seawall, very well dressed. But there were no labels in his clothes. They had all been cut out. Very mysterious, the police thought. And then they found, rolled up in his pocket, a piece of paper from a novel that said Tamam Shud. When they finally traced it, it came back to the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. But it got even more strange, because in the back of the book, when they found that it had been torn out of, there was a code, a secret code that has not been cracked to this very day. When they finally found a suitcase, it had a mysterious jumble of items, some which were very hard to explain. Also in the back of the book was the phone number of a very mysterious nurse. What did she have to do with the death of the Somerton man? Find Death and Love Down Under, a novel by Carl Witzman, on Lulu.com in both ebook and print format.
And he's still working on some stuff. So what we'll do is
We're good.
Are we good? God, that's
Yep,
awesome.
we're good. Oh, it's been a fun morning. We're supposed to have already had this guy come here for this, and we're running behind. It's just been a day.
It that happens a lot over here. If you get to watch more of my programming, you will find that I'm constantly interfered with technical difficulties and cats and deliveries. It's not you, it's me. The chaos is known as the Nick Field, and I will warn you, it is contagious. Hold on, look, Joe agrees. See. That's why Joe is in the background. He's literally sitting, doing his work and totally working and not waiting in case the internet drops me off again to pop it in after the show, so that you aren't just stranded on somebody else's program. But
oh goodness,
I love this, and as someone who also has trouble drawing hands, it gives me anxiety on several levels, and I'm absolutely here for that.
Well, it's also fun because the big joke was that Michael Bancroft had this one ginger root looking hand, and so the ginger root hand is hidden on this cover like a Where's Waldo thing. So,
see, and that's great. There are so many callbacks, and I don't know if it's on this cover or if it was on something, because I've been scrolling through your Indiegogo before this.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a street fight that was going on, and I'm looking at the signs in the background, and I'm trying not to laugh because I'm like, I recognize that homage, and I've seen that logo. I live for that sort of thing. It's
no, there's tons of love for the community in there. Dean would very frequently go, "Hey, who wants a little Easter egg thrown in?" And then this is our limited edition glow in the dark haunted cover by Shelby Roberts.
This one is amazing. Give me just a second, I'll get it up. because of it being routed through things and you not being able to fully zoom in and kind of this needs to be a poster at some point. It needs to be a glow in the dark, like blacklight sensitive. Again, my 80s-ness is showing, but
that's the beautiful thing about this. So this edition of the book is glow in the dark. Like the cover it's a glow in the dark cover. It's limited edition, signed and numbered by Shelby Robertson. And if you get the box, you get this cover as for the Spectral edition, which is our black and white edition of the Embrace that we do on so each time we do a new book, we have the collector's box will have the Spectral edition, and they're only printed for those campaign backers. And by the time that the Embrace is over, they're like the ultimate collectible, because initially the idea was to do this book in black and white.
Right.
So this is technically the cover of the Spectral edition, but it was such a strong piece. I was like, we have to do something cool with this. And so it's a glow in the dark cover of the book that's limited edition. And it's like, and I fully expect we're going to sell out of these either on Indiegogo or Fund My Comic. I don't know if there will be any left by the time we get onto Kickstarter. And like, these are, as the campaigns progress, right now they're $50 a cover. When the Indiegogo closes, however many left of the 50 that remain, that goes on to the Fund My Comic, and then the price goes up.
Right, that makes sense.
So like, this is the cheapest that they will be is right now.
So this is one of those, and to the chat, yes, we did say glow in the dark, and we understand multitasking. This is a long and bizarre program. Things happen when Oden and I are on the same screen. People don't understand. Like,
that was a fun episode of Nerd Bacon, friend.
Oh God, I watched it so heavily out geek Luke, he couldn't process the level of history geek that was going on. Dancing at the joy of salting carted. Anyway,
Carthage. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, speech impediment is acting up. I just had dental work, so it's like that work will not come out today. But guys, buy this book. Get yourself at least one copy in glow in the dark. Slab it. Put the slab on the wall, and then you can have the glow in the dark artwork perfectly preserved while it's still glow in the darking. It's going to be beautiful. And yes, that's how we met. We met through Nerd Bacon.
Yeah, through Nerd Bacon. It was a good show doing promoting SPQR way back when.
Oh, yeah.
It was back in like 2023.
Yeah. Dude. Time has flown. Well, apparently he had a phone call or something. That happens, but yeah, we've been doing a lot of great stuff, and this is what I love. Every other day, basically, I get on here and I tell you guys to shop small, to meet the artists, to meet the authors, to talk to the people who are making what you're doing, because some people, you'll meet and they're cool, but some people you'll meet and they are going to change how you see things. And I think that delivery he was waiting for came to the door, probably, for him to duck that fast. But we have such incredible, the chance to meet such incredible people, and a lot of times you get to meet them before they're really discovered. I kind of live in fear of the day that one of the bigger companies throws enough money at Michael Oden to, acquire him, because I think he's on that list of people, if they really wanted to make things better, they just would. And I don't do a lot of shilling on here. I run you guys' ads because I love you, and I don't charge for them, again, because I love you. But somebody like Michael Oden is quality enough that I can stop what I'm doing, delay whatever I had planned, and I did have stuff planned for today. I'll bump it to Monday. And just run with it. Just go, okay. We're going to talk to him for as long as he likes, basically. There are some of you that when you release your next projects, I want to do a similar format with, because it's important that the connections that are made in the chat happen. Yes, Sarah. Pandemic brought a lot of us together. It's one of those times in right beginning where things published, pitched. I think the pandemic culturally was one of the most important things to happen to the Western world, and certainly to America, in probably, wow. I mean, we're talking since the rise of advertisements in the late 50s, early 60s as a concept. I think the pandemic reset, and it brought people forward who would have never had a chance to meet, and people who would have never thought to try do amazing things. Well, I try to have us see that silver lining. Go on.
I said, and I'm back. Sorry about that. As I said, it's been a crazy morning.
See, the neat thing is almost your whole audience here are all on one level or another creators and small business runners themselves. So we
100%.
understand.
Man.
It's chaos, and God, this is good stuff. It's just good stuff.
We try.
Actually, I'm just going to leave that up because Johnny loves the extra attention. He deserves it. He's a pretty man. And and he's sharing the link to the Indiegogo. So
100%. And then
it's
as the final thing to show off here is obviously our collector box, which has a beautiful piece by Shimhack, who does these amazing digital paintings. I found he kind of went viral because he was doing stuff for Elden Ring and Berserk a couple years ago. And so I had him do this piece. And so this is what's on our collector box.
Hold on, Johnny. I need to shut you up for a moment. I know it's rare. Love you, Johnny. I kind of said iconic earlier, and I hate having to repeat myself because I have a fairly broad vocabulary. I can't pronounce it, but I have a fairly broad vocabulary. This right here. Oh, God. It looks like you can reach out and just pluck the moon out. Yeah, you need to be selling prints of these. These need to be posters, because
I would love to do that. So I kind of had a deal with this person where we would just use it for this thing.
Oh, I understand and I respect it entirely, but I can
so I can't. I could not go do resale on the poster, but there will be a mini print of this in the mini print gallery that is included in the box.
That's metal. Ooh.
And so that's a great idea. I might try and do something like that. But here is something cool that I do want to let people know is, I know that stretch goals in the past have been kind of tchotchke driven.
Yeah.
Not the case here. The extras and everything that you want that people would normally make as stretch goals, they are a part of the collector box. Embrace Sticky Hand, Embrace Standee, Embrace T-shirt, a mini print gallery, and all the variant covers of the book, the first book, and the spectral edition, right? That's everything that's in the collector's box. But for our stretch goals, and these stretch goals, I should add, carry on throughout all of the campaigns that we're running for the Embrace 2.
Okay.
These stretch goals are invested into the book. So we've passed one already. We're kissing the second one. Like we're right there. We're upgrading the covers. So the 40 at 4,500, which was our first stretch goal, Dean James's variant for cover A, like the main cover of the book, UV spot gloss.
Oh, okay.
So at stretch goal 2 at 7,500, which, as I said, we're really close. We're under 1,500 to get there. That becomes a rainbow holofoil book for the Rini cover that you like there with that like pink background and what have you. Then at, I think it's 9,000, Eder Messias's cover gets a silver foil treatment. And then at 12.5, the Bancroft cover gets rainbow foil treatment.
That's one. I just want to say, hey, Watsy, I know I know you listen to my show, Wizards of the Coast. Listen to how this man's handling foils and fix what you're doing to Magic cards. It ain't right. He's showing how it should be done. Sorry. If you're going to have delusions, make sure they're the really grand and satisfying ones. But this is, I really hope that we can get more eyes on this. And guys, I ask you to share the shows. This is what I want you to share for the people who didn't. Yes, rainbow foil treatment.
Yeah,
but this is, it's just another one of those great titles that and you stumble on. You go, okay, all right, I see where this is. I see where this is going. And this is one of those that I think has that that longevity that many, many issues from now, when you decide to do an omnibus and it's far too expensive for me to have, I will cry tears of blood when I see like the hardbound foiled edition cover that will wound me. And I know that some of my more wealthy friends are going to acquire it in bulk, because this is the kind of comic that gets people to read comics, and it gets people to want to make them. And that's why it's so important when I see stuff like this. This quality makes the media, the genres that it's involved in, better. And that's why it's like Bring You In is so cool. Now, we've got a whole list from you about your titles.
Yeah.
Now,
so these are the things that I have that I have done, and things that are in the near future. So, like, obviously we did the Embrace, and now the Embrace 2. SPQR's Bizarre Adventure. We did Judex, which you can actually still get copies of through the Indiegogo. You can purchase. We have our El Guapo tier, which is literally just the book for $10. That includes your shipping and everything like that. Amazing deal over there. Then there's what else did I say?
American Bliss.
I did American Bliss issue 1, and I finished the script for issue 2, and I'm working on issue 3. I've edited Phoenix 2, 2.5, and 3. I am translating a Belgian French bande dessinée book called Oden, which is beautiful. And there's a sign up link for the Kickstarter. I'll try and get that out here. And then
you're rebooting.
I'm rebooting Elysian Fields,
because that was actually asked about earlier. I just was trying to go.
And the fun thing is if you have backed the Nine Realms project before, or if you were on the Embrace mailing list, go check your email, because you should have a link to the secret tier, which is you can pick 2 of any cover and then add on a 3rd of any cover. But another thing that you can add on is for $10, and that includes your shipping. You can get the 11-page preview of Elysian Fields Reborn, which is the reboot and creative overhaul of the series. And to give you guys an idea of that, here I'll share.
Sure.
We've showed this on a couple of streams at this point, but
Oh, just strike me through my heart. Dang it, man.
Yeah. This will be launching on March 28th, 2025, which is a year to pretty much to the day of when we launched Elysian Fields issue 0. It'll be 5 years to the day, pretty much. So like we are doing this. It'll be, the full book is 44 pages, 8.5 by 11 prestige edition. And we've got some pretty fantastic talent coming in to do variant covers as well. And all the all of the covers, it does not matter who, all of the main covers of the book, like the standard editions, will be $15.
And see, it used to be, ironically, that one of the hard things about
Yes, it has seriously been that long, Sarah.
getting people into independent comics was the price of the books. You know, a lot of people go, "That's a lot to pay." But if you're paying attention to what the mainstream guys are are charging for some of their toilet water books,
So what I did was, this is a prestige format book, and it's longer than your standard comic. So I kind of compared the prices to DC's Black Label, and I cannot match what they're doing, but I can make it as close to it as humanly possible. And so I did $15 for the cover for each book, and with the names that we have on this, which I'm not going to divulge live just yet, but like, we've got some pretty heavy hitters, and they're invested in promoting the book as well. So I fully expect for this campaign to go and do very well, and for people to get a hold of it. It's going to be on a whole other level. So if you have backed a Nine Realms Publishing book before, please be sure you check your email. You probably have an email from me with the secret tier, where you can get the preview of this, and the preview will, our art team is on the last 3 pages of it right now. They are the preview book is going to be going out in August or September. They will be shipped separately from the Embrace stuff. So like you guys will be getting those sooner rather than later.
It's so good. It's so good. And yes, I was trying not to say toilet paper books, because I was trying to be less, and my brain just short-circuited and I said toilet water books, but that's about all they're good for too. No, I shouldn't say that. That's cranky. I shouldn't be cranky. But when I see mastery at a level that's done with 1,000th of the budget that they can throw at their stuff, it makes me intolerant for what others put out. I hate to put it that way.
That's more than fair. I mean, I see some of the stuff that's put out by people who make 6 figures on campaigns, and it makes me, kind of I don't want, because at the end of the day, the reason why they have the 6 figures is they've had the industry experience, and they have a built fan base, and they've earned that, and that's all well and good. But it is frustrating to me where I'm at a point where, if I could make 50, 60K on a book, that funds my next 2 books.
Exactly.
And and like that funds my next 2 books while recouping my overhead and ensuring that I get the book out to my customers, right?
Yeah.
My overhead for this is for this book is like under $20K. So as you like it, and that's including, you know, pages, covers, print, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all of that factored in is like is a little under $20K. So if I had like 50, 60K, like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't understand. Like I don't get it. Whereas like that's an annual salary for
Yeah.
most people.
It is, and it's except for the people who are the one, if I want to say, one-man shop operations, and they usually have the quality of one-man shop operations. I'm not bashing, because that would be, that's pointing the Nerf blaster at myself, because if I could ever get to the point where I can do some things I want to do, I'll be on the other side of the table, so to speak. But it takes so much, and I learned so much about the industry from doing Luke's shows and just sitting enwrapped, like, oh my God, people do not understand the amount of time and the amount of effort and God, the gobs and gobs of money it takes to do what you guys do.
100%.
So I am incredibly appreciative of it, again, from a slightly more educated perspective. But this is, I know you're a busy guy, so I don't know how long you can keep.
I do actually have to pop off because I just heard the truck that's here. That's like, it was supposed to be here by like 11 to pick up our equipment. So I've got to get that stuff loaded up. Dude, it was such a pleasure hanging out with you, and
Absolutely.
to everyone in to everyone in the chat, Sarah, Johnny Cage, everyone that has been here with me since I started, that I haven't seen in a hot minute. Thank you guys so much. It's really great seeing you guys again. And hopefully we'll see you guys here soon. Nick, I'm always down to come on if you ever need somebody to come on and shoot the shit. You just hit me.
You are literally always welcome. If you get a day where you're bored and you just feel like, hey Nick, I'd like to hop on the show and just chat with your chat for a while about anything. I mean it sincerely, literally as a recreational BS stream. You just let me know, okay?
Will do, man. Hey, you guys have a great day.
You do too. I'm gonna keep plugging your stuff after you go, so I'll let you go so you can be free.
Absolutely. And what I'll do is, before I roll out, this is the book that I am translating.
Please, thank you.
Let me get the link for that real quick. Oden by Seeds of War. There you go. It's in the private chat. I am translating it, 144 pages, bond dessinée, hardcover format, 9.5 by 12.5. You guys aren't going to want to miss out. It launches in September. Please make sure you're signed up. I will catch you guys here in a bit. Thanks so much for having me on. Thanks so much for listening to me talk about the Embrace 2 and everything that we've been doing with this story. And it's always a pleasure, Nick.
Always a pleasure. You have a great one, Oden, and we'll see you real soon.
Sounds good, man. Bye.
Bye. And I'm going to bring this up so that you can see. I am hoping that a couple people like Donna are in the chat to catch what he's throwing out, because this is way too cool looking. And let me go here. And we will see. So I wanted to bring that up, and I guess I'll bring myself up, guys. Let me go through a bit of the last chats. Of course, that is, he's heard the pitch. Right now, we'll just have to see. But yeah, it's a huge amount of time has passed since the pandemic, and a lot of us don't feel it. The lockdown was life-changing, but one good thing is a lot of good came out of it. And before we close up, I want to say something. I know for a lot of people, the future seems very uncertain, and it can be scary. And a lot of people have been talking to me privately that the future is uncertain and scary on a lot of ways. Without getting into any details that aren't necessary, I understand, I condone, but please remember that we are the same people who, during the, let's say, during one of the bigger apocalypses that we have endured, we found friends, we found family, we found dreams and ideals. We took the worst and angled it to a better path. And not everybody did it. Not everyone can. But I'm going to do that. We do. And we do that a little bit every day. So I'm going to throw the link to that project in the chat. Please follow it. I hope you guys can follow the Indiegogo for the Embrace too. And huge thanks to Michael Oden for being on. Thank you all for hanging out. And extra thanks to Joe, who's he's actually on a work phone call, so he can't respond right now. But who watched our back and made sure we looked good for when we have a friend of the family, so to speak, in the chat. I don't do a lot of guests, but when I have somebody who I think is more than just a plug, I will try to do that. Now, guys, I will be back in less than 8 hours on the other network for the Historical Fencing Guild's live stream. And I will be back Monday for the next episode of Nevermind the Furthermore. Till then, guys, keep writing, keep drawing, keep creating, because you can edit it, you can improve it, but you cannot edit a blank page. I love you, and you should too. Toodles, folks.